It's Friday. What's up, Miguel Lloyd, host of Life Full Circle Radio. And as always, want to thank you for giving us a part of your day. We're wrapping up the week. It's coming down the stretch. We got a few days left before we get into this inauguration piece. As it's almost time. But let's bring in the super producer. It's Friday.
No way. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm eating and doing a lot of stuff at one time.
All this
Happy
stuff,
Friday.
all this stuff going on. You eating, and then you got your blue cup. And of course, because you're pregnant now, it's a blue cup. It can no longer be a red cup.
Yeah,
right now, right?
This is clearly cranberry juice.
Can't be the red cup right now.
Let me tell you, I will be drinking on the ride home from the hospital. My husband's driving. I can have a glass of wine as we ride back to the house. Like, I miss that wine. I miss a nice gin and tonic. I miss you. I can't wait.
Oh my God. No, you're not. You are not drinking on the way home. Them babies is not going to be getting no ginned up milk. If first time tuning into Life Full Circle Radio, what we do is take subject matter off the headline, we dig a little bit deeper into it. We want to make sure you guys this is the thing now. We got to tell everybody subscribe, like, get notified when we go live. Didn't we have this conversation before about the whole lipstick thing while we on there? And you got the spaghetti bowl. Lord have mercy on my soul. All right, so and let me just drop this in right now. Shameless plug. If you guys want to enjoy the show, you want to hit us up a little bit. We got everything up here. We got your little Cash App. We got your little PayPal, your little, I think is what else we got? We got Venmo. What else we got? Oh, we got Zelle. That's right. We got Zelle.
We got everything.
We got,
we have it.
Hey, if you want me to drop you if you want to do old school and write me a check and send it on over, but support this show. We love doing this show. We stop
stimulus check. That's what we'll call it. A stimulus check.
You're gonna get the LFC stimmy check. We'll get that stimmy check right. All right, so as we've been having fun today, we're going to have a lot of fun today. I got a great interview today as I have a friend of mine who is a former Secret Service agent. He is going to have an interview with him today that I recorded a couple hours ago. I'm going to run that for you. Great information, man. I'm telling you, you guys are going to hear some stuff that you may have never heard before, straight from the horse's mouth of somebody who was in the White House. So that's what we can talk about today. Let's jump into this thing. Let's start off at the top. Let's talk inauguration, as we are now just a few days away. Trump plans to leave Washington inauguration day morning. And it looks like Mike Pence is trying to set up for 2024, because now you want to pick up the phone. Now you want to call Kamala Harris and give us some insight of what's going on.
Not even just that he's talking to Kamala Harris. He's also been visiting troops, calling police officers, calling family members he's doing everything he should have been doing for the past 4 years.
And especially since last Wednesday. Since last Wednesday, they should have been all on the phone reaching out. The Capitol police officer who died. But yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you finish.
Trump has not done anything. Trump has basically been in hiding. He's done one thing on Tuesday at the Alamo, which no one really paid that much attention to because no one really got what the point of it was.
Right.
But that was the last time he's been out and about. But Pence has really been trying to step his game up. And if he wants that 2024 bid, he really is going to have to do a lot more than what he's doing right now.
Everybody is posturing right now. They're trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do. Everybody's trying to, all of a sudden, everybody's starting to distance themselves from Donald Trump. No, remember, we done bookmarked it all. We already know in the political space what stuff we're going to use to bring it back up, to make sure that people know who you were. That I'm talking to you, Ted Cruz. I don't even know who this.
Marco Rubio.
Talking to you, Marco Rubio. Who is this new guy? Hey something. Hey whatever. What is his name? Anyway, the guy.
Is it the kid in the wheelchair?
No, I know anything about a kid.
That sounded really bad. That's not what I meant for it to sound like that. But there's a newly elected. Stop it! You laughing makes it worse. There's a newly elected senator who is chair-bound. Not sure what the terminology is, and he was a giant supporter of the Capitol riots and the insurrection, everything that's happened. And he's also dropped off the face of the planet. And people are actually asking him for their donations back.
They need to.
Hallmark actually sent him an email and said, listen, we were happy to support you, but now after what you did, we want every single penny we put toward your campaign. We want it back immediately.
Yeah, nobody wants to be attached to this toxic behavior. Thank you, Tara. Josh Hawley is who I was trying to pull out
Oh,
of line.
he's super done. Simon and Schuster.
I don't, yeah. Okay, we'll see. He's tall. He's slim. He's a white guy. The memories are gonna get short. Let's see if he is super done, because he, this is the hill they decided they wanted to die on. Let's see, because when it's all said and done, Hawley, Cruz, all of a sudden the Turtle and Lindsey Graham and McDonald, all these people, all of a sudden y'all getting a conscience again. Y'all didn't have a conscience for 4 years. You didn't have a conscience for 4 years. When you was getting what you really wanted, he was cool. It takes the storming of the Capitol, and all of a sudden now that's a bridge too far. Man, get out of here.
It definitely, okay, in the defense of Republicans, you know me, it definitely was a bridge too far. I don't think in a million years any of these Republicans, even Democrats, ever thought that riot was going to turn into that. No one, come on, Miguel, did you think that riot was going to turn into that? Honestly, but not the day of, like the days before. Did you think that was going to turn into what happened? If you say yes, you are a liar.
I'm not no, because I'm a realist. I'm looking at, if you let anybody, you gin up anybody as much as they gin them up. I'm talking about this dude had rally after rally after rally after rally. You forget about the old man with the goatee elbowing the brother in North Carolina in the mouth, and you forget about people dragging people from all these different experiences. This is not new. And what ended up happening when it's all said and done, if you give people the opportunity to act a fool, the worst among us will emerge. And to look at those videos and look at when that guy was beating a police officer with the American flag. And you look at that group of people, they look like pure and unadulterated animals. They look like they like they were frothing at the mouth and they were screaming and hollering. And here's the thing that a lot of these folks, you super patriotic conservatives, there was a whole lot more Trump flags than there were American flags. There's probably more rebel flags and it was than American flags. And so Don't give me all this crap about America first and all this nonsense.
But let me tell you the best part of this. Mm-hmm. And I find it's hilarious. Everybody's going to compare the Black Lives Matter rally protests and the rioting to what's happening now, and how the protesters now are not being treated the same. They're being treated better. Not exactly. Because never have I ever seen the FBI and the CIA be so pissed off where they are going to these people's grandmothers' houses, they are going to these people's jobs, employers, Facebook pages, Twitter pages, and arresting them on the spot. There have been 175 arrests so far. The FBI has a list of like 1,000 people they are tracking down. People are being banned from airlines thanks to the flight attendants union who said, we don't want these people on our flights. They're actually letting these people get on a plane to then call the police and say, oh, by the way, they're on the no-fly list, and having these people dragged off flights. CEOs have gotten fired who thought they had protection. I mean, it's a never-ending list of the FBI saying, no, we're arresting every single person we can find, regardless of what's going on.
Well, here's the thing.
And I'm sorry, that's worse than having a temporary arrest for a misdemeanor for the Black Lives Matter movement. These people are on another level of effed. Because
nobody, if you can find, here's the thing. If you find yourself a Black Lives Matter protest movement where they stormed a federal building, broke in the glass, went in there with pipe bombs and everything, then lock their behinds up too.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So this is a whole nother level. And let's not act like people at these other protests, Black Lives Matter, there aren't people who got some misdemeanor, got some records. But what we saw was crazy. And here's the idiotic thing about this thing, and this is how my mind works, is I watch a lot of those type of spies type of movies, right? When we had to go to all these masks, I said to myself, man, this is gonna be a great people for criminals. Everybody's running around in masks. You can always hide your face, but not the MAGA people.
No, idiots.
Not
idiots.
The MAGA people.
Wear a mask. The one time.
The MAGA people says, this is our house. We can tear up the house all we want. I'm going to grab the speaker's lectern, and I'm going to go put my feet on Pelosi's desk, and I'm going to go sit I'm going to do all the nutsy stuff.
That guy is from my hometown. That guy is from where I'm from.
Which one? Which one?
the one who had the lectern and the one who had his feet on the desk. A lot of these guys are from Florida.
No, the guy who had his feet on his desk from Arkansas. He's from Arkansas.
So the guy for the lectern is from Pinellas County. That's the one from Pinellas County.
And
a lot of these people were from Florida.
And there's one. And here's the thing. Hey, I won't let you have it all. The guy with the Nazi shirt on, he's from Hampton, Virginia, and so he was in the newspapers at home in VA. So you idiots, you the one time you could have committed crimes with a mask on because that would have been the thing to do to protect all your other maggots that are around you. No, you're going to run around like, do. I can break into anything I want. I'm white. I can do whatever. No, you can't. No. A bridge too far. A bridge too far.
Somebody cracking up yesterday because they were showing people getting pulled off of the plane and playing the gospel song, I'm Walking. I'm walking. They get banned from airlines. And now the Greyhound bus people, they done got in the mix. They banned people from
And Greyhound takes all the criminals. That's the only way they move around. You can't even get on a Greyhound bus.
I'm sorry, guys, if I'm laughing, but it's true, though. It's funny that y'all went through all of this. Y'all went through all of this to storm the Capitol. Y'all had planned it out like it was going to work, and now y'all can't go to work. You can't go to flight.
You can't go to work. You can't do nothing. And here's the funny thing, right? Woo. So I was sitting here talking to Trey, and I said, you know what? As I watched it go down, when all the social media things started going down, I said, okay, how many times have we said on the show and how many times we've had in conversation about the two most powerful people in the history of this world have been Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Why? Because of their ability to reach people through social media. Yeah. As soon as they cut him off, and I started seeing he was even banned on Pinterest, I said, okay. So they go, so they go on to AWS next. They go to Amazon Web Services, and they gonna cut off the website, the Parler, and he gonna be sitting out that joint sending smoke signals. So now they don't know what in the world to do.
Do
I need to go to one shot? You about to choke?
He's banned from Pinterest.
He is banned from Pinterest. He banned from Twitch. He can't go in there and play video games with the kids. He can't spin like a DJ on Twitch. He can't do a daggum thing except sit there and stew. And it's all your fault.
So all jokes aside, that brings us to a slight next topic. As people keep saying that this is hindering his First Amendment rights. This is how big tech is ruining everything. Big tech has a responsibility to their users. They cannot allow people to make threats of murdering the vice president, which is happening on Parler, which is happening on other platforms, and people are getting banned. You cannot do that on social media. That's not, free speech is fine, but if you're committing a crime, they have an obligation to say, you gotta go. Click button. You are deleted.
Yeah, you are free. You are free to tell people how much of an idiot you are. You are free to tell people where I work when I act a fool. You are free to lose your. You gonna lose your job. Yep. You gonna lose, and that's what is. We're joking about this thing because at this point, what else is there to do? Because what I watched last Wednesday was bananas. Yes. And I watched it, and here's the thing about it that you hear people talk about this place in history. Think about what we saw, and it happened in the span of 5 hours. And that same night, they were back in the building, voting. I said, did they spray that spot? Did they spray it down? Did they? Because my understanding, they was doing they was in there peeing and a whole lot of craziness up in it.
Going number 2 and spreading it on the walls. Now, I don't understand what the point of that was. Like, y'all are we're patriots and we're so American. On what American test did you take that says poop on the floor, pick up your own poop and then spread it on the wall?
You're gross. And that's what it boiled down to. You're gross. But here, so let's move on because this next segment is going to make a lot of sense for this part of the conversation. And we've been talking about this on this show before. We've talked about the power of talk radio. The next deal is the talk radio network that airs Dan Borghino and Mark Levin warn staff to stop dog whistle talk. And so I'm gonna let you set this up, and then I'm gonna jump into it.
For those of you guys who don't know, Dan Bongino. I always say his name wrong. He's a former Secret Service agent. He was also very, very right wing. I wouldn't even put him conservative. He's very right wing. He's also a commentator on Fox News, and he's been very much for stop the steal. All these votes have been stolen. You know, this is a robbed election. The same thing with Mark Levin. They're both huge Trump supporters. Trump has retweeted them. They've been to events, and their platform where they have their radio shows have basically said, because they're a cumulus, their cumulus base basically said, y'all got to stop. You guys have got to stop because you are a part of insurrection. That's what this is. When you say that this election was stolen and that Donald Trump is still president and all the other things, it causes an issue. And Cumulus, another major platform, also a privately run company, does not want to be associated with any other riots that could take place, any other killings that could take place. I mean, a cop was killed from the riots. Somebody got beat to death, beat with an American flagpole, and then 4 other people were trampled to death.
Right.
For people trying to get into the Capitol.
Right. So we're gonna have fun and educate in this segment. I'm gonna tell you why. I've been telling people for years that, and this is just because of the fact of where you know the career I've had in the radio business. Black folk and a lot of people listening to this show don't understand the power of talk radio. Y'all think this all started. Some of y'all think this all started with Trump. This is one of the most powerful communications mediums that there are, is talk radio. You want to talk about controlling the narrative. We love the Steve Harveys of the world. We love the Tom Joyner, who's now retired. We love all these syndicated shows who may be reaching 150 markets a morning. People like this are reaching 600 markets, 600 cities.
Oh yeah. I mean, Rush Limbaugh is the king of conservative talk radio and has been around for years.
30 plus years. Rush Limbaugh has been doing this for 30 plus years. In the city of Atlanta, Rush Limbaugh within the Atlanta metro is on about 4 or 5 radio stations. Mm-hmm. And so, and we're not, as in black folks, we're not listening to those stations. So when you get out here and try to have these conversations with your neighbors, when you try to get out here and wonder why these people are, yeah, I'm sure you are listening, but but I
used to love Rush Limbaugh on my ride home from work before I used to listen to him on my ride home from work. I swear, but it was way pre-Trump. It was pre-Trump, way pre-Trump.
So what pre-Trump? He been a nut job for 30 years.
Wasn't anyway, that bad, like 8 years ago. Back when we were living in Jacksonville, when I used to listen to him, he wasn't that bad.
Yes, he was. Okay. He was. But you whatever. You listen to Rush. It's all good. Rush has been stoking the coals on this fire for 30 years. There's a reason why Rush didn't spend a whole lot of time on television. He was on television about 20, 25 years ago for a little bit of time. And television is not his thing. He can sit behind a desk like I'm doing right now in his home and control the narrative, something fierce. And that's what he's done. So what has happened now? What has happened now is that Trump is of no more use to these people. To not Cumulus, to not Sirius, to iHeart, to none of these syndicators that are putting all these conservative talk shows out there. Just like they tossed, what's the guy that used to be on Fox who they tossed to the side? Tall guy, 6'5" guy. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Tucker Carlson with the college boy haircut is in his spot now. I always forget these people's names. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
It used to be on Inside Edition. Anyway, they dumped him, 3 or 4 years ago. Trump is now of no more use to the conservative movement. They're going to try their best to try to change the narrative up enough that he is no longer relevant. It's going to be hard, but with the conservative radio stations doing less with him, and then you start talking about, like you said, all the boys in Silicon Valley, the Facebooks, the Twitters. That's so funny. You thought that you can get whatever you wanted, Parler, and guess what AWS said? Guess what? Who owns Amazon? The Trump who has been crapping on my man Jeff Bezos from Amazon for how long? And
for years. It's almost like the geeks they made fun of in high school have now come out back with the upper hand. Like all the kids you guys made fun of owned all the platforms you guys want to be on.
Yeah, it's so funny. As much as you scream and holler and you want to storm the Capitol and all that, when it was all said and done, the little geek said, "Hey, Tommy, cut him off." And all of a sudden they beating up on their. I need to get that meme with the cat banging on the keyboard, because that's what those MAGA people were. They were just banging on their keyboard trying to find, why can't I get to Parler? Because as soon as I saw them first, when Google shut it off the phones on Google, I said, okay, here comes Apple. And then it's almost like the cab county coming in the Georgia elections. AWS just waited around and says, all right, cut them off. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they had no way to connect. So I'm sure they found a way. I'm sure they're doing something out there to try to stay connected. No, don't know what it is.
They have not found anything. Apparently everybody's moving over to Gab.com. But Gab.com apparently has rules too. And if you do the same stuff, they're going to delete you because they don't want to lose their Google. They don't want to lose their Apple Play Store stuff. They will delete you in a second or suspend you. And I don't know why people are so confused about when the free speech and getting suspended. I called Kim Kardashian a whore on Twitter and I got suspended for a week.
Why are you talking about Kim Kardashian a whore? Oh my God.
She is.
Somebody take your phone. Well,
anyway, I called her that name. Next thing I know, you're a from Twitter like, you're suspended for the next 7 days because you violated our policies.
Well, I've seen.
I did was call this girl the W word, and now I got suspended. So.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I heard that Facebook right now is acting like they're gonna be real strict. So a lot of folks who I know who have some voices on Facebook are being really aggressive and they're getting suspended. So hey, it is what it is. The bottom line is. Yeah, unfortunately, we are at the mercy of about 3 or 4 big tech companies that if they want to call Amazon, and then you think about my man who owns Square and Cash App and all that. He's getting ready to purchase a title from Jay-Z, so he's just sitting on cash.
And remember when Trump wanted to ban TikTok, and now TikTok has banned him? I find that beautifully, ironically.
It's just so ironic when you think it's all said and done. All right, so let's move on. We're gonna keep on picking on your people today. Why not? When it comes down to because you guys just can't get it together. So.
Matt Gaetz is a troglodyte. Matt Gaetz is a big forehead having, probably related to his wife. Like he's not married because I think he's gay, to be honest. Whatever. I can't wait to drop those teas eventually. But whatever. He's horrible. He's an awful human being.
But these are your people though. These are your people. These are the ones.
Tell me about my people.
Tell me about your people.
Matt Gaetz made so much fun of what happened to Andrew Gillum. Little does Matt Gaetz know there are multiple gay men in Tallahassee where he went to school at Florida State University because he used to be friends with Funky Dineva, who's got a YouTube channel. People are dying to drop dimes on him. Please, let's not.
Drop him. I'm like, whatever y'all got to do. But, and the funny thing about it, when it's all said and done, they'll sit up here and just claim, okay, it's not real. You guys made it up. But that whole thing with Andrew Gillum is real.
He made up that he had a son. Remember, he made up he had a son. The whole thing when Matt Gaetz made up that he had a son.
I don't pay any attention to Matt Gaetz at all.
Anyway, back to serious land. There is a lot of infighting in the Republican Party right now. They're actually calling for Liz Cheney to step down. Liz Cheney. Can you get more conservative than Liz Cheney, for God's sakes?
You mess around with Liz Cheney if you want.
Oh.
You mess around with. There's one dude who I always side-eye, and that is Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
You mess around with Liz Cheney if you want. She gonna sit up and just say, I'm calling my daddy.
And he will make you disappear.
First he gonna shoot you with some duck pellets, and then he'll make you disappear.
That was an accident.
That was bull crap.
Oh Lord. That's so
Oh
sad.
my God. So anyway, if it's your first time tuning in to Life with Sugar Radio, you can catch up to the show as we playing with a few tools right now. We just trying to show people now. If you want to go back, it looks like if you want to find out what we've been talking about, you can go and check it out. And on the right hand side, we're kind of doing our little. You say it's a TMZ thing. I say it's the ESPN thing. That's the difference. Let's see. So you see, this is what you love about the comments. You just got a whole different, and you got a whole different set of conversations going on in the comments. Let's see
I
what
know.
y'all want to include us in the conversation. Y'all want to include us in the conversation. Okay, Kelvin said there's also some app called Signal,
Okay, let's see what Signal is.
and Signal is a text app. Um, so
That's so low tech. That's so
that's
raggedy and low tech.
hey, all you need is an address. You go back to the wire. They was on flip phones. You can do a whole lot of damage. You can do a whole lot of damage when you mess around on a low tech device. So anyway, so yeah, I know y'all always. I'm just trying to be a part of the conversation, y'all. Y'all just invite me in whenever it's going down. All right. So as we mentioned, we're gonna have some. We're gonna have a nice interview. I want you guys to hear, and I want to set this up. My man Stacey Porter is a prior Secret Service agent, and so when everything went down, I said, man, I need to talk to Stacey and see if he can give us some insight. Now here's the thing. Of course, I'm like, all right, brother, whatever it is that you can't talk about, you don't get no pressure from me. He said, oh, man, it's all good. Whatever's out there, we can expound on. So I'm going to run this interview for you right now. This is Stacey Porter. Stacey is a prior a Secret Service agent, and he's going to give us some great insight on what happened last week and what we can expect here in the coming weeks. We'll be back here in just a second after this interview. Hey, Miguel Lloyd with Life Full Circle Radio. As I mentioned earlier in the show, we're going to have a conversation today. And as you know on my show, if I know about it, I know about it. If I don't know about it, I go through my Rolodex. I went old school with the Rolodex. Y'all heard that. I go through my Rolodex and I say, who do I know to know something about it? And about a year ago, I met this brother by the name of Stacey Porter with Porter Global Securities and happened to find out that he used to work for the Secret Service. So who did I call first? My man, Stacey Porter. Stacey, good afternoon, brother. How you feeling?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Miguel? Thanks for having me today.
Good. So as everything went down last week, for prosperity's sake, we're about a week and a half after the global, the congressional riots, the Capitol siege, whatever you want to call it, the MAGA folks who ran up on the Capitol, and from the time that first happened, I said, there's no way in the world this happened without there being some sort of knowledge of what was going on. But let's back up. Stacey, you have let's talk about your career. You started off with the Secret Service in 1995. Is that correct?
Yes, I started my career with the service in '95. And when I say '95, you go through a strenuous training process, of course. And once you graduate your training, then they'll let you know this is your assignment. So, of course, my start date was in '95. I don't want to throw out the actual day I started because I was torn in between. Should I continue with this job or do I go to the Million Man March? So funny story about that. That's the day I actually started the service, and as I'm driving out to the academy on 95, I think I was the only person going the opposite direction of Washington D.C. So I
I
like
was there.
I
I
like
was
to share
there.
that funny story. And
Yeah,
believe it or not, you got to do what's best for you and your family. And I
absolutely.
knew it was a good cause, the Million Man March, but at the same time, did I want to risk my career and miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime for me? So I knew I had to make a decision, and to me, that was the right decision I had to do. But
Absolutely.
that,
Absolutely. We all play our position. I say it all the time. I say we all have to play our position, and your position is to be here 25 years later telling us about your experience and how you protected
mhm.
our presidents and other people. So let's talk about your experience. You were in the White House. You were serving the United States government, the federal government, and George Bush, not HW. George Bush is the son, right? Or HW is the son. Always get them mixed up. But you were serving in the White House with 9/11. Tell us about that experience.
Okay, yeah, just to go back before Bush, I actually started when Clinton was in office.
Okay.
So I worked for two former presidents. I worked for Clinton and Bush. And
Okay.
as far as 9/11 is occurred, has occurred, I was there when 9/11 occurred. And sorry about that. Technology, when you're working from home,
It's
you
all
get
good,
invited to the
brother.
household. So you may hear the dog barking. I
It's all
apologize.
good. Mine is up in the room up there somewhere. I locked them
Yeah,
away. But go ahead, brother.
yeah. But yeah, I was at the White House when 9/11 occurred, and we were scheduled to have a congressional picnic that day. That's something that's normally done every year, where they
Hmm.
dress up the South lawn of the White House and have the congressional members come down
Mhm.
and just unwind and enjoy themselves. So it was early morning. Again, I'm not too familiar with the time when 9/11 occurred because, again, there was so much going on that day. But as I was going to a certain location inside the White House, I was going up the steps and a staff member was coming down and she mumbled or mentioned that the congressional picnic was canceled. I didn't know why it was canceled. I didn't ask. I just said, okay, the picnic is canceled. And then all of a sudden, I had my earpiece on and I got notification to respond to a certain location in the White House. Once I got there, there were a group of us. And when I say group, more than 10 of us in this location.
Mhm.
And we were watching everything unfold on television as the planes were crashing into the towers in New York City. So of course we were all looking there stunned like everyone else, like, wait a minute, is this actually real or is this a movie? What's going on? And they said, no, the United States has been attacked by terrorists. So that's when we said, okay, not that they just gave us commands as to what we needed to do to get everyone to safety inside the White House.
Mhm.
Thankfully, the president wasn't there during 9/11. He was down in Florida on a detail at a elementary school talking with a group of kids.
Mhm.
And what we did at the White House was we started moving north in the White House. So
Okay.
move our location to the kitchen where the chefs were in there cooking the meals for the congressional picnic. They didn't know what was going on either, so we had to have them shut down everything. And we didn't want to, play secret, if you will, if you would. We wanted to be transparent and say, okay, listen, the United States has been attacked. We need to get everyone out, shut everything down, which they did. So we got them out onto the north side on Pennsylvania Avenue. And as we move further along, we hit the press room, which most times press, they have the radios and they already know what's going on because, they're reporters. That's what they do. So
Mhm.
again, we got everyone out of there as well, got them off to the north side of the White House as well. And then we continue on towards the West Wing, just ensuring no one else in the West Wing was working. And if there were, we had to get them out. So once we got everyone out, I always like to tell this story. There was one particular area as I was going up the steps. I looked up in the sky, and at the time, because the adrenaline was just going, but at the
Right.
time, this plane was so low, it looked like I can reach up and touch it, which I knew I couldn't,
Right.
but that's what it looked like to me. And
Yeah.
as I watched this plane, I saw it go out a certain distance and then it did a turn and it was headed back. And I'm again, till this day, I don't know if that was a military plane, if that was the plane that crashed into the Pentagon. I'm not sure what plane that was, but thankfully it didn't do anything to the White House or the Capitol building. So there was so much chaos going on, but with the help of the DC Police Department, Park Police, Secret Service, we were able to just get everyone pushed towards the west of Pennsylvania Avenue. And
Mhm.
of course, you always have the one or two. Hey, my vehicle's in my office space. Can I go into the parking garage and get my vehicle? We shut everything down. And if you remember in Washington D.C. on that day, you
Mhm.
saw a lot of people walking across bridges. Just
Right.
they couldn't ride. We didn't want anything. We definitely didn't want anybody getting on the train system where the
Right.
train could possibly go in the ground or
Mhm.
just get hit by terrorists as well. So that's one of the days I'll always remember. But as far as the time itself, I'm not too sure about the time. And I do remember getting home late at night. And only thing I remember once I got home, I just remember going, jumping in, getting cleaned up, changing my clothes, and left back out, got my car and drove back to
Went
DC
back.
because we were on call. It was so much adrenaline going on. Again, I couldn't tell you if my feet were hurting, if my back was hurting from all those long hours.
I
It's
just
just,
I just can't
yeah.
imagine the responsibility that you had at a time where we didn't know if our whole world was going to change. And it changed, but it didn't change as it could have changed if there was more damage being done. Let's fast forward 25 years. Last week,
Mhm.
with the riots, the Capitol riots, the MAGA riots that happened, and the storming of the Capitol. In all your days and all your training and all your experience, did you ever imagine anything like that happening here on American soil?
No, not at all. Never imagined, of course, as I mentioned, 9/11 occurring, but after 9/11, former President Bush, he created the Department of Homeland Security.
Hmm.
So you would think, okay, we have all these things in place. We're not going to see any attacks, hopefully, on our homeland like we did during 9/11.
Right.
So with that, there's a lot of intel. When you work in law enforcement, you get a lot of intel coming in. And when it comes to protesters, everybody's able to do their protest, but you have to do it within reason, First Amendment. So
Hmm.
we're not going to stop you from having a protest, but what we saw last week was not a protest. That was domestic terrorism, if you ask me, just rioting, penetrating the Capitol, and not having anything in place or not being prepared as they should. As far as intel, this president, President Trump, he told everybody beforehand
Right.
what was going to happen. So there's your intel right there. So once you get that information, that's when you have to start putting all the pieces together, from your FBI to various other agencies. Normally, it's the FBI where they're just doing all the intel, pulling up information off the computer systems. Okay,
Hmm.
this is the information that we're getting. Most times, your FBI will put out reports. Be on the lookout for this, or various things like that.
Right.
And none of that occurred. And as they, or not they, but all of us, as we watch this on TV, let's go down to the Capitol and take back our government, if you will. They knew from the White House area, which they were on the ellipse ground, but from the White House area to the Capitol is 16 blocks. That may be too late because now you have to pick up the phone and start calling all these different agencies to assist you
Hmm.
because the Capitol Police alone couldn't handle all these people, which we saw.
Right.
So that to me is too late. All this stuff should have been in place beforehand, meaning you should have had the barriers
They should have
pushed out further.
exactly. So many things don't make sense to me, but I'm speculating because I've never been in your role, right?
Hmm.
But I immediately was like, okay, I've been to enough rallies. I was at the Million Man March. I've grew up in Virginia and DC, so you can't just walk up on the Capitol grounds or the White House or whatever. There's always enough, as you mentioned, police presence. But as you mentioned, we had Donald Trump, we had Donald Trump Jr., we had Giuliani, we had this whole rally that basically ginned this up, and they were talking about it on social media weeks beforehand. If you're
Hmm.
in that chain of command, or not so much a chain of command, but if you are in, I don't know how you describe it, but what kind of chatter? Give us a little insight on what kind of chatter was going on between that rally, all those people in the city, and them walking 16 blocks to the Capitol, getting riled up, riled up, riled up. Because I remember from the time that they really started like they were going to storm the Capitol to the time that the National Guard were called in, it was at least a couple of hours.
Hmm.
At this point, who do you believe, in your opinion, dropped the ball, or was it a situation potentially where the command came down from the commander in chief or his chain of command and say, "Don't send those National Guard and let these people do whatever the hell they want to do until we decide that they're done."
And that's a good question. Of course, it's a lot to swallow as far as that question. And of course, the information I'm sure we've all seen on TV, also read with
Mm-hmm.
the governor of Maryland
Mm-hmm.
governor. He was trying to get the National Guards right away.
Right.
But you're talking about, if you look at the Washington, D.C. area, certain areas you can pretty much cross the street. You're in Washington, D.C., cross over, you're in Maryland, you're in Virginia.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you mean to tell me it took you hours and hours for the Maryland National Guard? I don't know which guard number, if you will, but it took you hours for the Maryland National Guard to respond to your location. With something like that, you could have easily driven down 95 to possibly 295 and say, okay, we're at the White House or we're at the Capitol building and let's set up. Now, again, preparation is key. And
Mm-hmm.
there was no preparation involved whatsoever because, again, the intel was out there. So you have to look at Capitol Police. And, we did see the chief of the Capitol Police had to resign his position,
Mm-hmm.
which is another thing that's baffling to me because his background experience was dealing with protesters. And if that's your strong point, how did you fail something like this? Intel is out there again, as we've been watching and listening to the news, not just, your CNNs, you can look at your Fox, your CNN, your MSNBCs. Intel was out there talking about insider threat. That's
Absolutely.
a huge problem from your business organizations. Now we're looking at a possible problem with your government entities, insider threat. So I can't speak and say for sure that a call was made, but there is no way that you shouldn't have been prepared and you shouldn't have had your things in place, knowing these folks were headed that direction. Again, If it was a peaceful protest, you say, okay, let me still move my barriers further out or my perimeter further out, but
Mm-hmm.
at least we have everything established. But you knew these folks were not coming to do a peaceful protest. They were coming to storm the Capitol, which we saw, and the ball was dropped again by the Capitol Police. Once those folks got inside of the Capitol, it's too late. There's nothing you can really do about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to tear up the Capitol grounds, but I'd rather for you to tear up the Capitol grounds versus tearing up the inside of the Capitol.
Interesting. Yeah. So, because when I started seeing them getting close, and the fact that they were breaking windows open with things that I wouldn't believe they would be able to break windows with, right? You know, like this is the Capitol. This is the most important body. There's three bodies of our country. You got legislative, you got executive, you got judicial. And you telling me this is how poorly the executive, I mean, the Congress is protected. It was mind blowing. It was an education. It was mind blowing that it was that easy with just basically they've been told, hey, go do what you want to do. Let's talk about the
And,
transition. Yeah, go ahead.
and, and I was going to add this. You made a good point. How easy. So in seeing that, how easy it was, what they also did by not being prepared is you showed the entire world how vulnerable we are or how vulnerable the Capitol building is. So now, will you have copycats out there, which that's something that's being talked about, moving or leading up to the inauguration, possible
Exactly.
copycats. So that's
Hmm.
something that you have to think about as well. That how easy it was for them to penetrate and like, wow, this is the Capitol building. How secure are we? But now you just show other bad actors. This is something that we can do.
I've said for years. I said this. We got water at the Pacific Ocean on the West Coast. We have the Atlantic Ocean on the East Coast. The only way you're going to penetrate this country is from within, and we showed the world that it could happen very easily. And the thing about it is that, and it happened, and within 4 or 5 hours, they were back at their business. And so, everybody talk about it's the worst hit since 1812. I think it was when the last time the Congress building was breached. But I guess with the cyber world and things, it's a little bit easier to ramp back up. Going forward, now here it is in a few days, we're going to have a new administration in there. If you were in a security role within the federal government, one, talk to us about how smooth the transitions were, for example, from a Clinton to a Bush, and how smooth that was, and how you feel like this is not how that's going to be, or do you think that regardless of what's going on at the White House, the rest of the federal government is going to tighten it up, and they're going to be able to handle to get this transition smoothly?
Well, one, they will get everything tightened up. I mean, again, we're just days away from a new administration coming in. It will not be smooth as we've seen in the past. And again, I can't knock somebody that's a Republican, that's a Democrat, independent. That's your choice, and we need to learn how to get together. But because of what we've seen with this administration, how things have turned out, that's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be the case. And I say that to say when it was Clinton's time to depart, normal, you'll see for the most part, or you wouldn't see that, but for the most part, when you have the incoming president and the outgoing, they may have a meeting at a certain location of the White House. It could be the West Wing, or it can be a room somewhere in the White House where they're just, having a conversation. These are the things. Again, I wasn't privy to the conversation, so I'm just
Mm-hmm.
thinking, just regular conversations, or possible these are the things that you may encounter, things like that. If you have anything, hey Miguel, give me a call. I'm here to help you. Just one of those transition
Yeah,
things that we see
absolutely.
anyone else do. Same thing with the first ladies. They'll go off to a location and talk about various things as well. And that's how it's supposed to be done. And normally you'll see Marine One on the south
Mm-hmm.
side, and you'll see them walk out to Marine One, do their salutes, and
Mm-hmm.
the old presidency will get in the Marine One and
Mm-hmm.
go off to their location, and that's
All
how
the regular
it's
pomp
supposed
and
to happen.
circumstance of changing of the guard, but we're not going to see any of that this year.
And no, we're not, because it's already been said that on the 19th, which we all know the inauguration is on the 20th, but it's
Mm-hmm.
already been said on the 19th that Trump and his family, they're going to be in Florida, I believe. And he's already said that he's not going to attend the inauguration. So again, that's also a smooth transition that you would normally see, the outgoing and the incoming, just there to support them, if you will, up on
Right.
the Capitol steps, where you see them put the hand on the Bible and get sworn in as the new president. And that's something that we're not going to see this year. We are going to be on high alert
Mm-hmm.
because, again, the inauguration is going to go on, but they're telling everyone to please stay put. We don't want you coming down to Washington, D.C. And they've already set up a perimeter, if you will, of the
Mm-hmm.
Washington, D.C. area. So you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to penetrate that. Now, the scary piece for me is since we've seen this occur last week and everybody's been talking about this whole insider threat,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do I trust this agency? Do I trust this agency? How do I
Right.
know there's not an insider there that's supposed to be protecting me and doing my job? When you're working in law enforcement, you're supposed to be apolitical because my thing is, it doesn't matter if this agency or this administration is here for 4 or 8 years because of 2 terms. Once
Mm-hmm.
they leave office, I'm still there to do a job. I can't
Right.
get personal or get political. I have to stay neutral and do my job, and that's not what we're seeing today.
Yeah, it's very concerning when you think about how many prime military, current military, off-duty police officers who were involved in the Capitol riots last week, and people who may have 20, 30 years experience in the military or in law enforcement, so they know how y'all move,
hmm
and
And,
they
and,
and they were on the other side of that conflict.
and that's unfortunate because, again, when you're talking about the Capitol, because that's what was hit last week. How do you know exactly where Nancy Pelosi's office is? Now,
Right.
you have the gentleman sitting in the office taking a selfie, if you will. Of course, he was arrested, thankfully, but
Right.
unless you just stormed and you stumbled up and said, "Oh, here's our office. Hey, everybody, I found the office." But for some reason, certain people knew exactly where to go inside the Capitol building. I can work at the Capitol building for probably 10, 20 years, and there's probably locations I still don't know of. But for some reason, you have strangers coming in for the first time, if you will, and they knew exactly where to go. So again, that's a huge issue for this country is the insider threat piece.
Yeah, it's a shame. James Clyburn out of South Carolina said that the office that has his nameplate on it was undisturbed. He works out of
Mhm.
another office that is an undisclosed location, and they found that location. So it was obviously an inside situation. Before we go, man, let's talk about Porter Global Security. So you're now in the private sector, and tell us about how you can help any of our listeners or viewers of the show, and the type of work that you can do from a consultancy standpoint.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about my business. Again, 20 plus years with the federal government, based here in Atlanta, Georgia. I retired from the feds 2.5 years ago as a supervisor with the Department of Homeland Security. Took all that experience and I brought it with me and started my business. Now, during my time with the Department of Homeland Security, I did risk assessments on our nation's airports. And again, that's something that's vital. It needs to be done because there are vulnerabilities within our airports. So if you've flown into an airport, I probably was part of that risk assessment on how to mitigate
Mm-hmm.
those vulnerabilities. Again, for Porter Global Security, I'm the principal consultant. And, I talk with businesses from small to medium-sized businesses, and I look at ways on how I can come in and assist you with your vulnerabilities. And as you mentioned earlier, it's not aha, I caught you. It's none of that right there. I'm coming in looking at cost-effective ways and how we can do business. Most businesses they have security features in place, but they're not utilizing them as they should. So I'll just come in as another set of eyes again and look at the vulnerabilities. I'm also looking at your best practices because most businesses are doing things that are great. How can I take that information and possibly share it with another business?
Mm-hmm.
Schools right now,
Mm-hmm.
schools they're just all over the place right now because of this pandemic. So I
Right.
also look at schools, and one of the things I'll say about our schools is that the focus has shifted so much on the COVID-19 pandemic, which it should, but we can't forget about the active threats that are still out there. So
Right.
again, that's something that my business does as well. And then our houses of worship. I do safety, security awareness training for the congregation and also do risk assessments for the churches as well. There's no need me telling the congregation these are the things you need to look out for during an active threat, but you still have all these vulnerabilities in and around your church as well. Of course, right now, most churches are doing Zoom services
Mm-hmm.
versus live services,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually you're going to open those doors again to your
Absolutely.
congregation. And what do you have in place for that? So that's what Porter Global Security pretty much does. And I'll be happy to talk to anybody that has any questions or any information for me.
Make sure you give me your phone number and your email address how to reach you.
Yeah, my phone number is 703-646-0453. Again, that's 703-646-0453. And my email address is Stacey@porterglobalsecurity.net, and that's STACEY @porterglobalsecurity.net.
Stacey, so much for your expertise, brother. I appreciate you, man. You're welcome back to Life Full Circle anytime.
Appreciate you for having me. And like I said, don't hesitate. If you have any more questions, I'll be glad to come back and entertain them.
I appreciate you, man. All right. God bless.
Thanks.
Great insight, man. Stacey is, oh my God, just, you know, the everything that went down last Wednesday, to have someone like himself who was there, who has been there, who was there during 9/11, and then let him basically answer the question that no one saw this coming to this magnitude. But he sounded confident that the transition will be smooth, that people will get back. But let's just pray we get through next, what is it, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever the 20th is.
It's just disheartening, though, the fact that we have had presidents who have shaken hands with the new president and stood on the steps, whether they were 1 term or 2 terms. We've had this for years. Has there ever been a president who was just like, I'm just not going? Has that ever happened?
No. Everything about this guy is different. Everything about this guy has been disruptive. This guy would simply, he said from the beginning he was going to do things his own way, and he's been so destructive and so divisive. And I'm just glad that this era is over, and we're going to get back to just boring people running the government, and we'll pay attention a lot more than we used to, but not as much.
Like a dog, and Obama still stood on those steps. His wife stood next to him, even though she dressed like she didn't give a damn about even being there. She still stood there. She bought a nice gift, and they shook hands, and they sat down, and they were probably disgusted with themselves. But that's the job. But we can move on.
The job has changed. He's changed the job forever. And how we move from here, it'll be very interesting to see how we move from here. But let's get through next week. As we said, there's looks like Mike Pence is trying to set his shop up, and so he can move on and still be considered, because people have very short memories. 6 months to a year. The Republicans are going to find out who they're going to back. They're going to support whoever it is, and a lot of this other stuff is just going to be like it never happened. So, all right, let's move on. So we got. I want to switch gears a little bit. We always want to try to drop a little bit of business knowledge in here with you guys, as you may or may not know. Both Key and I are both professional marketers, and so we work very deep in this space.
Really? Oh, sorry, I got excited.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up with that. But political ad spending this year. I worked on a couple of campaigns. One thing as a consumer, it was crazy trying to get away from these political ads. They were just disgusting. But I know you do a lot of Facebook buying for your clients.
Absolutely.
But ad spending skyrocketed. It was insane. Even it came down to the digital space where there's a lot of impressions that are promised. It was hard to make those impressions stick. But talk to us about things that are going on in your space with this ad spending.
So ad spending is skyrocketed, mainly because Facebook is being a dick. And I say that for a reason. What's happening is Facebook is no longer letting you target a specific audience you need for your ads. They are now making you go into this something called a special category so you can run your ads, which is causing you to spend more money. And that's what they want, because they are hemorrhaging money because a lot of brands have left. A lot of brands have left from Facebook advertising and spending more money on Google, and they're trying to get people to spend and spend and spend so that they can recoup for that. There were a lot of political ads running. There were so many super PACs. You've got Trump spending money. You've got Harris spending money. You had the AKAs. I mean, shout out to y'all for y'all Founders Day, but y'all was out here making political ads and doing stuff. Like you had the divide. Am I wrong?
Happy Founders Day to the AKAs. We definitely can't get through this show without sending out the ski week, but you're exactly right, because the AKAs, they have their own political action committees.
Yes,
right.
They do. It's only going to get bigger now. By the way, it's only going to get bigger.
All of the divine, and that's what we're supposed to do. When you have a political action committee, is supposed to take the communities that they have access to, and to motivate them and to activate them. And so we know the AKs and the Deltas and the Kappas and everybody. And then collectively, there's even Divine Nine. There are even Divine Nine packs that are out there. But this political ad spending was bananas, man. You know, I was fighting and scratching and clawing with some of the media companies that I was buying on behalf of my clients, and it got a little crazy. But hopefully this stuff will go away. But yeah, so let's move on. But you wanted to talk about good old Barkley.
Well, I thought we were going to talk about Biden's plan first and then go into Charles Barkley.
Now let's go ahead and do Barkley. Y'all want to talk about Barkley, so we're going to talk about Barkley.
Okay, so because I did want to talk about Charles Barkley, because Charles Barkley is an idiot. He got on what's it called? NBA Talk Time with what's it called?
NBA Tonight. NBA Tonight. Yeah.
Oh, it's called Inside the NBA.
Yeah, let me just tell you how much I don't even watch it, because Charles Barkley, to me, and this is coming from someone he is the worst broadcaster in the history of television.
He's so bad.
He is so bad, and it's just like they continue to keep he's been on TV on this show. It's crazy. I didn't realize between him and Kevin. They've been on the air about 15 to 20 years doing this show, and I'm just like, I don't watch it. And I'm a huge basketball fan. But go ahead, it's good. Let's talk about what his nutty behind said last night.
So he was on Inside the NBA with the rest of the people on the show, and I don't know how it got on this topic because we've only shown this one clip. And he made this comment: "We need 3 million shots. Give 1,000 to some NBA players, NFL players, hockey players." As much taxes as these players pay, they deserve some preferential treatment. Of course, other people on the show, including Shaq, were like, what? And Shaq, is iffy sometimes too, but they all were like, what are you talking about? Why are you saying this? Like, what is wrong with you? And he was dead serious, and they all were very embarrassed. And, he later claimed that if 1,000 vaccines were made available to NBA players, that the season would have a chance of staying alive. Now,
it ain't about the season, you idiot. It's not about the season. Why don't these people get this mess? It is not about the season, NFL. It's not about the season, NBA. It is about saving lives, man. As much as I love basketball, yeah, I'm tired of seeing them play in empty arenas. I am. But I also had a client call me yesterday, a church, and the pastor died. And of COVID, and the first lady is not in good shape.
Yeah,
this is not a game.
My whole family are on quarantine right now because my kid, because he's special needs, has to go to physical school. He was in the lunchroom, and they had these kids all spaced out. They have to wear face shields trying to eat. One kid caught it. The entire lunchroom now is sent home from school. The entire lunchroom, whether they were sitting next to this kid or not. And my kid is now on the other side of our home, trapped, like he in prison, because I'm pregnant, so we just have to push through. I don't care about the NBA or the NFL.
And you people, I've been love sports. I used to be a sports broadcaster, still consider myself. I am not watching much of nothing sports related right now. I'm just not. This stuff is so serious what's going on. And for Charles Barkley to come out of his mouth and here's how idiotic his comment was, and I don't even feel like finding it and putting it up, but he basically said when they questioned him, it was either Shaq or Kenny Smith, when they basically said, he said, no, it's not about how much money they make, it's about how much taxes they pay. What? How much taxes you pay are commiserate with the money that you make, but neither one of those things matter right now. It doesn't matter how much you make or the NBA players make. Or it's about keeping people healthy, you idiot. And I sit back and
with the NBA, we're going to give them the vaccine so they can play because they can't follow basic rules. Wasn't one of the NBA players just fined $80,000 from the team? He's going to lose a paycheck for 8 games because he went to a party last weekend with a bunch of his friends, an indoor party. And the NBA found out about it and fined him, the team, and now he's suspended.
And here's the thing. The NBA did a hell of a job in the bubble last spring into the summer, or whatever, however we rolled summer into the early fall. Did a great job, man. But I get it. That's a tough life to live. You got to stay up in that bubble. And now when you get the rest of the league, There's a reason why the rest of the league is the rest of the league. There's a reason why James Harden can score 40 points a game and nobody wants him. It's because he is that type of irresponsible type of dude that everybody knows guys like James. James don't care about, he don't give me the vibe that he really cares about nobody else but himself. Whatever he says, whatever way he want to make things happen, that's what he's going to do. But Barkley was like that too. Let's not forget, Charles Barkley was the same guy who said, I'm not a role model. Going back today. See, you may not even remember that Charles was actually a very, very good basketball player.
I just remember him getting in a fight and being a jerk and kind of being out of shape.
Charles Barkley was a great basketball player that played above. Like you said, he was always a little chubby. When he got in shape, he was an undersized guy. He's undersized for his position. 6'4", 6'5", played power forward, playing against guys 6'8", 6'9", and he dominated them. Charles Barkley and the 1993-4 Suns were supposed to could have potentially beaten the Chicago Bulls. He had a good run. As a broadcaster, he sucks. He's terrible. Every time he opens up his mouth, he says something asinine, and this takes the cake. You're going to sit up here and tell people,
his speech, the way he speaks physically,
right,
like,
and right.
Shaq gets the training. I feel like Shaq has been getting speech training over
Shaq has gotten a lot better from when he first. But Shaq sells everything. He's selling pizza and powder and printing cartridges, and Shaq's selling everything. He said, "I'll put my face and name on anything." He's selling insurance. That brother is selling everything. Oh, you think I'm joking? You do know he sells insurance.
Line with Office Depot, like an office chair.
Yeah,
for big people.
He got office chairs. He's got a clothing line with JCPenney's. He's got you name it.
In the car with the general. The insurance. He's selling whatever he's gonna sell. Charles Barkley has just, I don't get it, man. I don't know why he stays on the air. There's a lot of people. There's a lot, I guess there's a market for him. Like I always say, there's a market for everything and everybody. But I ain't the market for Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley's an idiot. Let's move on. All right. What else is? Oh, the stimulus thing. You want to talk about the Biden stimulus joint? Let's pull that up. Let's pull that up. Yep, I'm going to pull it up right now because I want to make sure I get all of these stats absolutely correct for this. I took a screenshot of it and went through it. Okay, so Biden is proposing a $1.3 trillion stimulus package, and it includes Americans bringing total relief to $2,000. Sorry, I'm going through this. Okay, $1,400 a week. Increasing the federal per week employment benefits to $400 and sending it through the end of September. Increasing the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour. I'm not for that. Extending the eviction and foreclosure moratorium.
Pause. Why are you not for $15 an hour? It's $15.
Somebody who works at Chick-fil-A or McDonald's should not make the same as a first-year teacher or employee who's gotten a college degree.
Then that means that people who got the teacher need to make more money. If a teacher making $15 an hour, $15 an hour, that's part of the problem. But go ahead.
If you go to teachers in Pinellas County, first-year teachers make barely, I think they make a little bit, maybe $17. But somebody that works at Burger King should not be making the same amount of money as your kid's teacher. That I have a massive problem with that.
And I have a massive problem with somebody who had to go to school and they've got school loans and they're making $15 an hour. They'll never get out of debt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and the rest of it is $350 billion in state and local government aid, $170 billion for pre-K for K through 12 schools and institutions for higher education, $50 billion towards COVID-19 testing, $20 billion towards a national vaccine program in partnership with states, and making the child tax credit fully refundable for the year and increasing the credit to $3,000 per child.
Okay. So a lot of stuff that we know Democrats like to do is a lot of social programs, which is expected, stuff that's needed right now. Some of it will pass, a lot of it won't.
$1,400 a week? That seems like a lot. Is it just me that thinks that's a lot of money per week?
Yeah. Is it a week? Is he proposing $1,400 a week?
That's what it reads. $1,400.
That's a lot of money. That doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right either, but
$5,600. That's $5,600 a month. I can't see that's. Let's double check the source on that because that doesn't sound like that's good.
I will. I mean, it made sense for $2,000 a month. I get that. That to me seems reasonable, barely, but it seems more reasonable than $5,600 a month because that's more than most people make, and I don't know if I'd go back to work if I'm getting $5,600.
No, somebody give me $5,600 a month. Yeah, people do not want to go back to work. Do these guys still exist? Is he a troll?
Why? How did he get in here?
Oh yeah, it's public. The show is public. I just curious. I want to put him on blast.
Hi, Darius Jackson. Trump sucks, and I'm so sorry that you're so stupid. You think somebody's gonna vote for Trump. I'm sorry you gave up your black card or even your common sense card, but that's not my problem. And yes, the show is live, like actually live, so I can see your tweet and I can call you a moron. Find me on Twitter
at Kia Shakur.
At Kia Shakur. What are we talking about next?
At Miguel Lloyd Inc. right there on the screen. So anyway, okay, yeah, we're about done with that idiot. But I'm gonna let him play in the comments. That makes it. Hey guys, I got some really dope people that I watch this show, so y'all can have at them, have fun with them. All right, let's have some fun. Let's wrap this thing up.
Okay, the last thing on my list.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Oh no, you did want to talk. Well, let's talk about this first. Let's talk about that. I want to get this up. Let me get the cuss words off the screen. So here's the conversation that's going on right now. The conversation that's going on right now is around who is better, all time. Now they're talking all time now, which is enough of a challenge.
I'm getting hot because I don't like it. I don't like it. That's so stupid.
So the conversation, all my hip hop heads, if y'all ain't been listening to the show now, anybody, my peoples, we love some hip hop. Call them up, tell them we talking about this for a couple of minutes. Drake versus Jay-Z. I'm gonna let you go first.
Drake got famous when I started not really getting hip hop. I was in hip hop before, but Drake got famous during my college years. Mm-hmm. I think Drake is an amazing artist, but y'all got to stop trying to put him up against greats. He is not better than Jay-Z. That's not a thing. Like, why are they? But I feel like this happens every year. They have this conversation about Drake being better than somebody. Do they not have this conversation every year?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. And I had this debate. Well, the other day where in one of my noob groups, where the guy wanted to debate me that whichever one of the Bones from Bone Thugs and Harmony said that Bone Thugs and Harmony can challenge Wu-Tang in a versus battle. Hey, that's a whole other conversation. He really was making a case trying to make a case of how Bone Thugs and Harmony can hang with Wu and all the solo projects from Raekwon and Ghost and Method Man and ODB.
There's no diss to Bone Thugs and Harmony. They were an amazing, iconic group who belongs in the history books of hip hop. But oh no, really? They don't? I thought they did. Let's stay on topic before we get off into this other thing. Okay, we gotta stay on topic.
Let's get back to Drake and Jay, because that's where it started. Because that's a whole nother conversation. We need a whole nother show on how different people see hip hop. Here's my thing about this conversation. I'm gonna surprise you in saying that it's more of a conversation than people give credit. And here's why. Here's why I say that. Drake has been doing this now for 13 years, give or take 13, 14, give or take 13 years. Drake has been at the forefront of the music. Now, I personally believe that he first came out more of, he kind of used more of the LL Cool J formula than he did the Jay-Z formula, which was, it's all about, Jay was hip hop, hardcore hip hop from the jump, and then of course he married Beyonce, and then he found some real money, and so he's doing things a whole lot differently than anybody else. But Drake has really rode the wave. There's been a lot of artists that he's come, and every time that dude touches the mic, he drops something, it's a hit. Now people say, well, he don't write his rhymes. Okay, neither does Barbra Streisand. So neither is Whitney Houston. Huh?
It's not a fair comparison. Rapping and singing is different. I feel
here's
like
the thing. Here's my thing with that. And I'm a hardcore hip hop rap dude. I am. But we've always had this thing of hip hop and rap is very competitive. Who write his rhymes? He didn't write his rhymes. Blah 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 blah. I'm at a point I don't care about. It's the delivery. It's a whole lot of rhymes being written that they say they wrote it. They really didn't write it. You know, when it comes down to it, Beyonce. What I say, Beyonce. Well, you know, Jay-Z comparison. Drake has almost dominated a generation from a hip hop standpoint. There was
absolutely
Drake, Lil Wayne. Who else has dominated consistently? Chris Brown. And you got to kind of put Chris Brown in the same conversation because there is no delineation between hip hop and rap anymore.
Nicki Minaj. If you're going for rapping, Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj has had a good run, but Cardi B bumped her out kind of smooth. And Cardi B then ran the last 3-4 years, right? And then now Cardi getting bumped out by Megan Thee Stallion, body yada 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 yada.
White people only let they only let one happen at one time, so that's a whole different conversation.
Man, we're not putting that on them. Nope, we need to have a longer attention span. We need to have a long attention span and take care of our artists. But getting back to Jay-Z and Drake, I wanted y'all to drop some in the comment. I'm curious, is Drake now? To me, there's no he's not better than Jay-Z. Also, no, he's not. It's to be respected. But is there any reason to keep Jay-Z out of the top? I mean, Drake out of the top 10 rappers of all time?
Of all time. See, that's a weird list of all time.
Well,
and people, I'm shaking my hair because I'm really trying to think about this.
Yeah, well, and I really, you know, I know some of my hip hop cats, they like, Miguel, you done lost your mind. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna front on Drake, and people who know me know I'm quick to call out whack rappers. I'm quick to be like, nah, just because they sold some records don't mean that they dope. It's a whole different era now where you can just pick up your phone and say, I want to stream that song.
Fetty Wap. They thought he was going to be one of the greats.
You know, right. Is that the dude that got that bad eye?
Bad eye and a bunch of kids? Yes.
Exactly. So when it came down to the conversation with like, even with that whole Bone Thugs and Harmony conversation with Wu-Tang, the guys wanted to send me screenshots about Billboard charts. I don't go by that when I'm basing who the best artists of any genre. If I decide I want to play some music right now, am I going to go and want to go play Bone Thugs and Harmony, or do I want to play Wu? It's Wu all day. When it comes down to Drake and Jay-Z, I can't sit up here and say that Drake doesn't have a playlist that I won't hit play and be like, that was pretty hot. Oh, that was pretty dope too. That was pretty fire too. I ain't been in the clubs for years, but I know that those joints are banging in some clubs because they feel like club bangers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so this Trump guy must be trolling us.
I don't think there's a comparison. I feel like I know one of our commenters, Andre Woodley, says that why do we do this? No need to compare. They're both greats. However, Jay-Z is a legend. And Jay-Z is a legend. Jay-Z has had album after album after album that has had, you could play it all the way through. And Drake does have albums like that, but it's just not a comparison. And stop comparing these two people together.
Well, it's fun. It's something to do. It's like
I find it offensive.
it's like people want to get into the Michael Jordan, LeBron James conversation. We're gonna have a whole show that's gonna be all about them type of conversations. We're gonna have a whole show about all the conversations that Kia hate. We're gonna have the Michael Jordan and Michael Jordan LeBron conversation. We're gonna have the Jay-Z Drake conversation. We're gonna have the Andre 3000 and Kendrick Lamar.
Hitler commercial conversation. I hate that comparison too. That locked you. It's locked on you. Right in your head.
All right, did we hit everything today? Man, we had a great show.
The last thing I wanted to say is, people, please make sure you check out One Night in Miami. I'm literally getting off the show.
Yeah.
Cleaning the dishes, checking on my COVID trap kid, and then I'm going to the couch to watch One Night in Miami. I might not even wait for my husband to get home from work. I cannot wait to watch One Night in Miami. And for those of you who don't know, Miguel's going to explain what the movie is.
So One Night in Miami is actually Regina King's directing debut. And it's basically one night where Malcolm X, James Brown, Jim Brown, and who was the fourth person? Sam Cooke. So it's Muhammad Ali at that point he was still Cassius Clay, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, Jim Brown. They met at a motel in 1964, And what's important about this is that you just imagine right now, if we were to look at these four and juxtapose them to today, this would be a meeting with John Legend, along with LeBron James, along with, I don't know who a religious leader that we could compare, and then the greatest football player. Let's just say it's, I don't know. Anyway,
wait a minute. I was trying to think of a religious leader that didn't have a scandal right now, and I could only come up with Kirk Franklin. Is that the only one?
There are others. There are others, but
Name
okay.
Name one.
Anyway, you're not gonna drag my Christian my pastors through the mud. You know those my people.
John Gray. No.
You know you trolling now. You know you trolling now. So as you mentioned, One Night in Miami, I think it's streaming on Amazon Prime. Going straight to Amazon Prime. Make sure you check that out. I think it's gonna be great. We definitely gonna check it out when we later on this evening probably. And so shout out to Regina King, Black Girl Magic. I expect it to be amazing with her. People don't realize how long Regina King been in the game. Regina King was a child actor. I don't know if you knew that or not. Regina King goes all the way back to.
You're talking to me?
Yeah.
Yes, I knew that. I knew that.
You're like 12, so I don't know if you knew.
35, and I did know that. I know that Regina King has had a very long career.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been into I want to say the last 3 years that she's gotten the recognition she's really deserved. I mean, she's won an Oscar.
Yeah.
I think she's won 2 Emmys, and all this has been back to back to back.
Yeah.
Like she's
she's done a great job of transitioning from a lot of child actors don't make it. They don't make it out of that child actor era and have a great adult career, especially as an African-American woman. So I'm very proud of that. And I look forward to seeing her. And she's in the dopest commercial right now. She makes that Cadillac look real sweet. Like, I want to go buy me a Cadillac. That thing is sweet. You seen her in that Cadillac commercial? She makes that Cadillac like it's the best thing since sliced bread.
I have seen that Cadillac commercial. Black people in Cadillacs, Black people in Sprite. That's another conversation we need to have. How did Sprite become the drink for Black people? Does anybody know how that transition happened?
Hey man, it's sweet and it's clear. All right. You've been enjoying the show. Make sure you hit us up. Drop it in there if you want to drop us a couple $. We appreciate it. Make sure you make sure you know whenever we come on, you follow us. Make sure you follow us on the Life Full Circle Radio page.
Yes.
That's the page that I'm going to be broadcast from more, and from YouTube. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff straight from YouTube. So make sure you subscribe, get notified when we go live. We appreciate y'all. Thank you, Stacey Porter, for all the great intel. By the time we get back on here next week, we'll have a new president. And hopefully DC won't be on fire. Appreciate y'all. God bless.
Bye, guys.
Right. Later on.